Hey, friend, welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I am your host, Heather. I've been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009 with my show making it the original Tudor History Podcast. This channel is where I put all of my episodes from all of my shows, as well as lots of extra content like this video right here. Today is a video that comes from a channel member request. This is for Tiffany. Tiffany has requested a video on Rowland Dee, the father of John Dee. So just a note, if you join this channel, you get lots of extra content, extra videos, mini courses, depending on what level you're at, author chats, all kinds of fun stuff. So this is for Tiffany, Rowland Dee. I got to tell you, Tiffany, you stumped me on this one. It is hard to find information on Rowland Dee because, of course, as the father of John Dee, everything is in relation to John Dee. So it's just kind of all this stuff about John Dee. And then it's, oh, by the way, his father was Rowland. It's really hard to find stuff on just Rowland Dee. But the John Dee Society came through. They have some great resources on their page. And so I was able to cobble together enough to make a video. And so if there's other stuff, Tiffany, that you know of because you requested this video, please leave a comment and let me know too what I missed, all right? So Rowland Dee was the father of the renowned mathematician, occultist John Dee, who was Elizabeth I's astronomer. He was a Welshman born around 1500, and his life reflects a lot of the opportunities and challenges that were faced by ambitious people in the rapidly changing society of Tudor England. We talk about this a lot on this channel, how the 16th century saw this rise of the middle class that had never existed before. And these merchants, these tradespeople who started to grow in prominence in a way that hadn't, not like you hadn't seen it before at all, but it really grew during the 16th century. And Rowland was part of that growth. Rowland's origins can be traced back to Radnorshire in Wales, where his family had very deep ties to the region's history and culture. His grandfather, Bedo Dee, was known in the area as a prominent figure in Pillith, a village with historical significance because of its association with Welsh resistance. So there was this cultural backdrop of pride in Welsh identity that likely influenced Rowland's ambitions as he sought to rise within the Tudor society. Rowland was born into a lineage that boasted a connection, however small, to Welsh nobility. We already mentioned his grandfather, Bedo Dee, was part of this Welsh resistance line. The family's surname Dee actually is derived from the Welsh word dew, meaning black. And this connection to Welsh identity was actually quite advantageous to Tudor England. The Tudors were Welsh as well, and Henry VII launched his attack from Wales, had a lot of support from Wales. And so Rowland's heritage provided a foundation for his ambition, while later influencing his son, John Dee, who famously claimed descent from Rhodri the Great, King of Wales. The Dee family's move to London occurred following the ascension of Henry VII, the first Tudor monarch. Henry Tudor's victory at Bosworth brought many Welsh supporters into positions of influence, and the Dees were among those who benefited. This migration marked a significant shift for the family, positioning them in the heart of England's political and economic life. By the early 16th century, Rowland had established himself in London as a mercer, a member of one of the most prestigious trade guilds in the city. Mercers specialized in the trade of fine fabrics like silks, velvets, and linens, which were highly sought by the wealthy and members of the royal court. This trade required not only business acumen, but also strong connections to suppliers and buyers across Europe. Rowland's position as a mercer provided him with financial stability and a network of influential contacts, making it a natural stepping stone into the world of royal service. Rowland's integration into the Tudor court came through his appointment as a gentleman sewer to Henry VIII, a role that was likely facilitated by these connections that he cultivated as a mercer. Gentlemen sewers were a type of servant, and they had a number of different tasks, from taking care of serving the monarch during meal times to dressing and undressing the monarch. So it actually puts you into very close proximity to the king and their inner circle, even though it was seen as, kind of a domestic role. You were right there with the king and with all of the people in power. Rowland's role as a gentleman steward seemed to have been responsible for overseeing some of the ceremonial aspects of royal dining. This was something that would have required a lot of trust and loyalty from him. And through this role, Rowland secured his family's connections to the court, further solidifying their status. In 1544, Rowland received an additional appointment as one of 2 customs officers responsible for overseeing the packing and inspection of goods for export from London. This position, granted by Henry VIII, may have been a reward for his prior service as a gentleman sewer, or part of the king's broader efforts to regulate trade more effectively. It showed Rowland's reliability and skill in managing commerce, and also showed his growing prominence within the mercantile elite. This role also helped him financially. It allowed him to collect fees and regulate the city's thriving export market. Rowland's Welsh heritage became a significant part of his identity, even as he acclimatized to life in London. The family attended services at St. Dunstan's, a parish church in the mercantile heart of the city. St. Dunstan, the church's namesake, was actually a notable figure in English history, and I love this story. St. Dunstan was a bishop of London, an abbot of Glastonbury, and later Archbishop of Canterbury. And St. Dunstan was also considered a patron saint of goldsmiths and, wait for it, alchemists, which is a super fun connection given John Dee's later pursuits in alchemy and Arthurian lore tied to Glastonbury. This environment of faith, trade, and cultural intersections shaped Rowland's worldview and provided the backdrop for his integration into the Tudor court and society. Rowland Dee's later years were marked by both opportunity and uncertainty. In 1553, during the turbulent transition between Edward VI and Mary I, Rowland faced imprisonment, a fate that he shared with his son, John Dee, who was also arrested at the same time on grounds of heresy and conjuring. Some historians have conflated Rowland's imprisonment with John's, but surviving records suggest that Rowland's detention stemmed from political or financial disputes rather than any kind of religious accusation. Or even John Dee at that point was in prison for supposedly conjuring a horoscope of when Mary would die, which was considered treason at that time as well. So that while they were both imprisoned at about the same time, it wasn't for the same thing. He was pardoned in December of 1554. This allowed him to return back to his family, but the episode strained both his finances and his reputation. It's interesting that in 1541, Rowland was counted among the wealthiest merchants in the parish of St. Dunstan's, yet he was actually unable to leave any kind of real inheritance to his son John. So it seems like this episode of imprisonment and everything that came from that really hit him financially, and he wasn't able to recover from that. But of course, his legacy lived on with the success of John Dee. John was an only child, and Rowland had invested heavily in John's education. He paid for him to go to the best schools, and that would, of course, come back to pay dividends to John Dee as he was Elizabeth's chief astronomer and had the largest library in Europe and all of the things that we remember John Dee for. So Rowland's life shows the shifting tides of Tudor England, a world where your ambition and your connection could propel you to prominence, but the political turmoil could quickly unravel fortunes as well. Rowland's Welsh heritage, deeply intertwined with the rise of the Tudor dynasty and his success in integrating into England's mercantile and royal circles, paint a very vivid picture of a period defined by both opportunity and risk. And like we said, this growing middle class, this growing movement between classes that people suddenly had opportunities for that didn't exist so much in the past. So there we have it, a little bit about Rowland Dee. Thank you for requesting that, Tiffany. Hopefully that was interesting to you. Quick note that Yuletide with the Tudors is still going on. I'm not going to talk about it so much anymore, but it started December 1st, a digital advent calendar that opens up to new content every day, videos by me talking about how the Tudors were celebrating Christmas, the history of the Christmas holiday, how it became the Christmas that we know, all of that kind of stuff. So you can check out englandcast.com, and there's a big button there, Yuletide with the Tudors, to learn about that. So we will leave it there for now. If you want to keep binging Tudor content, why not check out this video about John Dee? Or here's a video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, you are deeply loved. I'm so glad I shared the planet with you. Don't forget to drink your water, friend. All right, have a good one. I will be back soon. Bye-bye.